Achoo! Every elf looked to the noise to see poor Mimi with a little red nose, watery eyes, and a tissue in hand, sneezing away. See, said Mimi, wiping her sore little nose, Mrs. Claus told us to put our warm clothes on before we played. I would not be sick if I had done what I was told. Oh, quiet down, Mimi, exclaimed Rick.
Nobody else is sick, so don't you blame this on me. Just then a noise from the other end of the shop filled the room. Achoo! From one side came an achoo! And then from the other sounded an achoo! From the middle of the room was heard another achoo! Soon the entire shop, Rick included, was sneezing. It was a sneezing, sniffling, eye-watering, nose-running epidemic. The sneezes grew in volume until the room sounded like 20 choo-choo trains coming into the station. Tissues were flying everywhere. Noses were being wiped. Sneezes were being covered, and every single elf looked and felt terrible. The commotion was so loud that the elves did not hear Santa and Mrs. Claus enter the room. What is going on here? Demanded Santa. Oh, Santa, Santa, piped up Mimi. Mrs. Claus told us we could play outside if we put on our warm clothes, but Rick convinced us not to, so now, achoo! We all have colds and shivers. And fevers too, Papa, said Mrs. Claus as she felt the foreheads of the elves. That's it, said the kind matriarch. Every elf to bed. What? Said Santa. You heard me, Papa. Every elf to bed. Hogwash, said Santa. These elves need to finish the toys. There are too many toys left to be finished, and we can't disappoint all the good little boys and girls. The elves began to build the toys once again, but they were sneezing, shivering, and sweating. Santa and Mrs. Claus looked on for a moment or two. Mrs. Claus then looked at Santa with sad eyes, and Santa finally relented. All right, you heard Mrs. Claus. Every elf to bed right now. Leave your tools where they are. Change out of those wet clothes for warm jammies. I want the elves to have a cup of tea and then go straight to bed, Mrs. Claus smiled, knowing that was the